Calling all authors. The Your Book, Your Voice podcast with host Robert A. Lane features everything you need to know about narrating your audiobook. But it doesn't stop there. We have special guests lined up from all aspects of the book publishing industry, and we also dive deep into what it takes to be mentally prepared for success as an author and in life. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane, and glad you're here. Glad you're joining me. This is a podcast I love doing because it not only covers the audiobook world, but I also bring in special guests, book professionals, authors, just a whole bunch of people from the book industry that share their experiences about them being an author, or on the other side of it, people who create and help you create your book or audiobook, getting their perspectives as well. So glad you're here. I am an audiobook coach and producer, and I do specialize in helping nonfiction authors turn their book into an audiobook. So if you are a nonfiction author and you have a book and it's not in audiobook form, you definitely need to turn it into an audiobook. But the most important component is that you, as the author, narrate your own audiobook in your own voice. I say this a million times, but it is so true, because there is nobody on this planet, nobody in the universe that can speak your story the way that you want it to be told. Nobody can do it, because you've written this great nonfiction book, whether it's a memoir, or maybe you're a coach or an entrepreneur or an educator or a teacher or even a poet or a children's book writer. This is your unique style, your unique personality, your unique pacing, and of course your unique voice is in your written word. And when you turn it into an audiobook, you're just bringing that unique style, that unique voice, which is all you. You're bringing it to life in your own voice. And that is such a fantastic thing to be able to do. It's great we have the technology to be able to do things like this, where you can narrate your own audiobook and put it out there for the world to hear you tell your story. So it really is important for you as a nonfiction author to narrate your own audiobook. I do have an audiobook coaching program, which is called Your Book, Your Voice. And it's a 6-week intensive where I work with you one-on-one and take you through the entire process of setting up your own recording space, because you will be recording your own audiobook. And I do provide you with the equipment that you need to do that. And then we go over the fine art of what it takes to do a great audiobook narration, how to be compelling, how to be engaging, how to be your authentic self, of course, and keeping that listener who's enjoying your audiobook on the edge of their seat from opening credits to closing credits. And then as you are recording your audiobook, another factor, and a lot of people sometimes don't remember that you need to do this, and that is your audiobook audio files have to be edited. They have to be cleaned up. And most importantly, they need to meet the exact specifications for publication, so you can get distributed on Audible, Amazon, Apple, and all the other distribution platforms that you want to be on, which of course leads into what our topic is today. But before we dive into that, just a couple of things. First of all, if you are interested at all in finding out more about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program, simple step for you to do is just schedule a call with me. There's a graphic on the screen, so you can check it out there. For those of you who are hearing the podcast, that's audio only. I'll give you the link as well. It is bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. Okay, bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. That is the link to book a call with me. All right, just schedule a call with me. I would love to speak with you, find out more about your book. I'll give you more details about the audiobook coaching program that I teach, and you can record, narrate, and have all your audio files ready for publication into Audible, Amazon, and Apple. And that's the bare minimum, Audible, Amazon, and Apple, for ready for publication by the end of the 6-week program. So it's a really, really great thing for you to be able to do. All right. And the other thing that I wanted to share with you, of course, is that I do have a freebie. Love giving away freebies. And this is one that I think you'll really enjoy. It's a downloadable PDF that has some great information about how to do a great audiobook narration, from the practical aspects to the intangibles, the emotion, the energy, the things that you need to bring to the table when you do your audiobook narration. And the link to grab your free audiobook narration reference guide is bit.ly/narration reference guide. That's bit.ly/narration reference guide. Grab yourself a copy. It's my free gift to you. And of course, you can always go to robertlanecoaching.com to find out more about what I do as an audiobook coach and producer. So today's topic, of course, is this. You hear this question all the time. Where can I get your audiobook? Where can I get your audiobook? And it's funny, the timing of this was great, because I was talking with my coach, and yes, I do have a coach. I am a coach, but I also do have a coach as well. And I would highly recommend you as an author to have coaching just to keep you, it's like having a mentor, which is a really great thing. That's another discussion. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later on. But it's funny because he was telling me that, when someone says, "Oh yeah, I have a book that I published. I got this great nonfiction book that I've published," the first thing that he says is, "Are you on Audible?" First question. So again, where can I get your audiobook? Being our topic. And I thought that was kind of funny, because it's like, you see, that's the first thing he says. He goes, I don't even ask what the book is about. The first thing I want to know is, are you on Audible? Because he loves to listen to audiobooks on Audible. He loves listening to audiobooks. He says, I do speaking engagements. I have my coaching clients. I'm super busy. So audiobooks are great for me, because when I travel, or, if I'm doing anything where I can just listen, that's the best time for me to really just engross myself in some great books, but hearing the author tell their story. So I just thought, that was a good thing to say, because that's what we're going to be talking about today. So two things that we're going to cover in our discussion here on the podcast. And the first thing is, do you have a marketing plan? Because we are talking about audiobook distribution, right? Where can I get your audiobook? The big question. Well, there are a lot of places that you can get your audiobook distributed, and having a marketing plan is key. So before you even think about, I'm just going to record it and just put it out there, you need to know where are you going to put it out there? What are the distribution platforms that you really need to be on? And do you need to be on all of them? Do you not need to be on all of them? These are questions that you need to ask yourself as an author, because again, you've written this great nonfiction book. You've put it out there in the world. You've published, whether it's an ebook, a paperback, a hardcover, it's out there in the world. So you have now presented your author brand. And again, as an author, you are an entrepreneur. So you are the CEO of you. You're the boss of you. All the decisions that you make for your author brand, guess what? The buck stops right here. So when you are making decisions about your business as an entrepreneur, as an author, I consider every author who has a published book out there in the world, you are a professional. You are an entrepreneur. I consider you a professional 100%. I don't care whether you wrote your book in nights and weekends and you still have a day job, or maybe you do write professionally full-time, which is an awesome thing if you are able to do that. You're still a professional in my book. So again, embrace your entrepreneurship. Embrace that you are a professional. But you do need to have a marketing plan, just with any business at all. When they're going to do a campaign, any kind of marketing campaign, they plan it out. So we're going to talk about that. And then the second part of what we're going to discuss today are just, there's a lot of different audiobook distribution platforms that you can be on. So we're going to talk about them. We'll try to get through as many as we can. I mean, I counted, I don't know, there's probably at least 56 plus audiobook distribution platforms that you can be on. Now, whether they're all right for you, again, that's why it is so important for you to have a marketing plan, because you need to figure out what is working for you. Do you need to be on these distribution platforms, all of these platforms, or maybe just exclusive on a few? Whatever works for you. So you need to understand your author brand. Okay. So again, your author brand, remember, is everything that encompasses who you are. Everything, your personality, the way you were brought up, your belief systems, your habits, your sense of humor, the way you speak, the way you pace your words, the way um, you sound, your voice. Your voice is a crucial part of your author brand. Again, that's why it's so important for you as a nonfiction author to narrate your own audiobook, because nobody can tell your story better than you. No one can. And again, as a firm believer of having all nonfiction authors narrate their own audiobook, there's not another narrator who can replicate you. And that's what makes you unique. And that's why you really need to embrace yourself as an entrepreneur and as an author brand, because your author brand is you, everything about you. Love it and embrace it, and love and embrace your voice as well, because as I mentioned, that is a crucial component of your author brand. It, again, helps you stand out in the crowd because of your uniqueness. Remember that. Because of your uniqueness, because of your unique authenticity, you're bringing that to the table with how you wrote your book, and especially when you are narrating your audiobook. You are bringing your unique self to the table. And that is what allows you to stand out in the crowd. You don't want to sound like or try to imitate other people. You don't want to try to copy other people. And again, another narrator, no matter how great they are, they'll do a great job, but are they really representing who you are and the unique personality that you are? That's debatable. It really is. And of course, getting AI to narrate your audiobook is not such a great thing, because it's not you. It's not an accurate representation of who you are. And again, preserving your author brand, preserving the integrity of your author brand is very, very important. This is your business. Okay. So important. So those are the two things that we will talk about. Just a quick overview in case you're not familiar with the process of what it takes to create an audiobook. And this is what I do go through in my audiobook coaching program. And I'll give you more details about that later on in the podcast. But when you are creating your audiobook, you are recording it in pieces, in sections. So the example that I always give is when I did my book. I wrote this book, Lights Action You, a couple of years ago, which deals with my career coaching aspect of my business, career coaching, life coaching, before I expanded my business to be an audiobook coach producer. But I've worked 30 plus years in the entertainment business. I still have an an audio post-production business that I still do. So you're getting a lot of that experience when I do work with you for your audiobook. But there's 14 chapters in this book. And then there's opening credits, closing credits, acknowledgments, introduction. Some people have forewords, some people have prologues, some people have epilogues. There are all these different parts of your book. Dedication page too, that's another one. You are going to be recording every section of your book as a separate audio file. That's the process. So there's definitely a positive to doing that and doing it in that fashion, because you don't feel the pressure of thinking you got to sit there and knock out an entire book in one sitting, because that's just not the way to do it. So you record everything in sections, and it does make it a lot easier to create your audiobook. I want to touch on this just a little bit more before we dive into the marketing aspect of where can I get your audiobook? That's our topic. So we're going to dive into that in just a second. We're going to take a quick break. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TD network. Matter of fact, if you like to get involved, since we are live, you have the phone number that's up on the screen, and you also can comment on the chat as well. So we will be right back. Don't go away. Lots of information for you to share.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
All right, welcome back to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. You can go to robertlanecoaching.com to find out more information about what I do as an audiobook coach and producer, helping nonfiction authors, if you're a nonfiction author, helping you with creating an awesome audiobook in your own voice. If you'd like to participate in the show, because we are streaming live here on the Bold Brave TV network, you can call in live at 866-451-1451. That's the phone number, 866-451-1451, or you can always comment in the chat as well. If you're catching the show on a replay, well, you missed out, but you need to join us when we do the broadcast live. And of course, I do want to let you know that if you are at all interested in just finding out more information and wanting to speak with me directly about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program, then by all means, book a call with me. Just a simple step. There's a graphic on the screen right now that you can check out that has the link to my calendar. It's my personal calendar. Book a call. bit.ly/audiobook onboarding is the web address. bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. Book your call. Let's talk about your book and get you enrolled in the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. Great decision for you as an author that you can do for your author brand. Okay. Now, we are talking about distribution, audiobook distribution. And again, marketing is where you need to start before you even think about what you're going to be doing in regards to, well, let's see what distribution platform I want to be on. Well, what is your marketing strategy? All right. So things that you can do while you are creating and recording your audiobook and voicing your audiobook, because yes, as a nonfiction author, you do need to narrate your own audiobook. And as a coach, that's why I love working with nonfiction authors. I hear some fantastic stories, by the way. I'm working on one right now that's just incredible about her journey through being sucked into a cult and getting out of this cult, and just the brainwashing and just the crazy stuff that she had to deal with. And fascinating. So I love working on these nonfiction books. Maybe you have an incredible story that you want to share. And of course, only she can narrate that book because she experienced it. You know, there's nobody who can narrate it better than her. And the same applies to you. There's nobody who can narrate that book better than you. So yeah, definitely narrate your own audiobook. But now when it comes to marketing, when you are creating your audiobook, you need to start creating hype right away. Okay. So part of the marketing strategy, and again, this is, before you dive into the distribution aspect of it, but this is good stuff to keep in mind. So first of all, why don't you think about shooting videos, shorts, creating content, social media content, no matter what social media platform is your favorite. Create some content. Show yourself recording your audiobook, showing behind the scenes, taking photos of your recording space, doing videos of you doing your narration, describing your setup, talking about what you do. What is your preparation before you hit that record button? What do you do to get yourself in the right frame of mind? These are all great behind the scenes techniques and experiences that you can share with your audience, which will help create hype when you're ready to launch your audiobook. Okay, it's such a good thing to do. And again, when you're getting closer to launch date, you should, with like at least a month or two before your planned launch date, you need to put together a launch team. Now, maybe you did that when you published your book. When you publish your ebook, paperback, or hardcover, it's a big day, and that's a big accomplishment, and it is definitely something that you do need to celebrate. But maybe you can go out and just put together a launch team, right? A couple months before, do some grassroots marketing. That's what I did when I did my book. I reached out to all my friends, my Facebook friends, my Instagram friends, everybody who follows me, as whether they follow me for business purposes or maybe they are personal friends. And I would ask them, hey, would you be part of my launch team? And they're your core group of people that will help you promote your audiobook and make launch day a fantastic day. So it is really important to put together a team of people. And I love grassroots marketing because, again, if you don't have a budget to be paying for, Facebook ads or any other advertising, you can always reach out to people, and send them emails and messages and DMs or whatever it takes, and do something to put together a great launch team. Now, give them something for their efforts. Okay, don't just say, "Hey, I want you to be part of my launch team." Great, that's terrific. But do something nice for them. Give them something. Give them a copy of your audiobook for free when it's published, or maybe a copy of your ebook, paperback, or hardcover. Do something, or maybe if you are a coach, give them a free coaching call. There's a lot of things that you can do, but do something nice for your launch team, because you know what? They're doing something nice for you, because you're going to ask them to write reviews and post reviews for your audiobook. And those reviews also will spill over for your ebook, paperback, and hardcover. It's a great thing. So a couple of things to think about. All right. So now when you are getting ready to market your audiobook, again, have a plan. All right. Here's your launch date. You've set a launch date. All right. What are you going to do after the launch date? What are you going to do, 3 months from now, from the launch date? And then maybe 6 months from that launch date, or a year from that launch date? What is your marketing plan? What is the strategy to keep your book in the forefront of people's minds? You have to keep marketing and promoting your book. I've seen this happen a million times with authors. They put all this effort into doing a great launch, and then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, they're not promoting their book anymore. So sales drop. And then I hear this a lot. I'm not making any money on my book. I'm not making money on my audiobook or my ebook or my paperback or my hardcover. Why? Because you're not promoting it. That's why having a marketing strategy is crucial. Remember, you are an author brand. This is your business. It is so important for you to make great business decisions to continue to market your book. So do it. Do some marketing. Put together specials. Holidays are a great way to keep promoting your book. Whether it's, Black Friday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, Easter, It's summer, it's winter, it's fall, it's spring. It's funny. I remember when I was working because I worked 30 plus years in the entertainment business. So when I was working at 20th Century Fox, we had this whiteboard, and I would find out what the holiday was for that day. And there was a holiday every single day of the year. So I would write, it's, dark chocolate day, or whatever the crazy holiday was, and I would write that on the board, and I would tell my boss, we need to have the day off because we're celebrating dark chocolate today, or whatever the holiday was. But you can find ways of promoting your book in a creative fashion. All right. So keep that in mind. That can be all part of your marketing strategy, but have a marketing plan in place. Or maybe you do have a goal. Maybe your goal is, I want to sell 100 audiobooks by 3 months after my audiobook launch. Okay, great. You have a goal. Now, a lot of people like to reverse engineer that. Well, what does it take to get to that point? What do I need to do to make that happen? And then you create goals to reach that point. And you can, reverse engineer it, or you can just do it forward if you want, whatever works best for you. But again, as an entrepreneur, because you are an author brand, you have to have a plan. Okay. You got to have a plan in place. So make sure you have a marketing plan, because then that will, of course, help you with figuring out where you want your audiobook distributed. Again, the big question is, where can I get your audiobook? Well, where? Okay. So knowing what markets work best for you as an author is where you should be focusing promoting your audiobook. So, for example, if you have your book on Kindle, KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, you got your ebook up there, you got your paperback up there, maybe you have your hardcover published through KDP. Great, you have it out there. Now, when you published your book, are you exclusive with Kindle or with KDP, or are you non-exclusive? That's a question that you need to ask. And the same thing happens with audiobook distribution. Do you want to be exclusive or non-exclusive with the audiobook distribution platform that you're looking to be on? Now, with the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program that I teach, first of all, let's talk about the AAA. Audible, Amazon, and Apple. Those are the three distribution platforms that you 100% need to be on as a nonfiction author. You have to have your audiobook on those platforms because those are the most popular ones worldwide that people go to. And just like what my coach said to me that I mentioned earlier, he doesn't say, hey, do you have an audiobook? He asks authors, are you on Audible? Because that's where I go to get my audiobooks and listen to my audiobooks. So you have to be on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. Now, when we're talking about the marketing aspect of it, you're going to have to decide, is Audible, Amazon, and Apple the three distribution platforms that serve the purpose that I need to be served with having my audiobook on just those three? And for a lot of people, it is. So you need to make the decision. Am I exclusive or non-exclusive on those three platforms? And again, the big difference between being exclusive, same thing with Kindle, being exclusive or non-exclusive is just what is it that you make as your royalty for sales on those platforms. Okay, so on Kindle you get X amount of revenue if you're exclusive, and you get a lesser amount. Same with audiobooks. If you're on the AAA, since we're talking about that, Audible, Amazon, and Apple, if you are exclusive with those three platforms, then you will make 40% of every sale that you make of your audiobook. If you need to be non-exclusive, which means you can distribute your audiobook anywhere and everywhere that you want, including Audible, Amazon, and Apple, they pay you 25% for sales. Now, understanding your market, understanding what works best for you is something that you need to figure out before you decide on where you're going to distribute your audiobook. Now, as I mentioned, you do need to be on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. So the decision really is, do you want to be exclusive on those three platforms, or do you want to be non-exclusive on those three platforms? So something to think about. Now, for me, when I published my audiobook, Audible, Amazon, and Apple, perfect. Those hit the markets that I need to be in. You're in the United States, you're in the UK, you're in Japan, you're in Mexico, you're in Canada, you're in Ireland. You're covering a lot of territories that work best for me. I don't need to be anywhere and everywhere. That was my marketing strategy, and it works for me. A lot of the authors that go through my audiobook coaching program feel the same way. They have their markets hitting those territories, and that works for them. They don't need to be anywhere and everywhere. So that is a decision that you need to make as an author. And again, they decided to be exclusive with those three platforms because that's what works for them. So again, figuring out what you need to do and what works best for you is important. We are going to talk about all the other distribution platforms that are out there. And I do want to talk about some of these because it is important to know what's out there and what works for you. So we're going to dive into that when we come back. We got to take another quick break. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane, your host. And again, I am an audiobook coach and producer who does help nonfiction authors create awesome audiobooks in your own voice. In your own voice. You got to do that. You got to narrate your own audiobook. So you can find out more information about what I do as an audiobook coach and producer at robertlanecoaching.com. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Don't go away.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
And we're back here on the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Appreciate it. Again, I am an audiobook coach and producer, and I do talk about audiobooks, but we also cover other topics as well regarding being a book professional. And you are a professional as an author. So if there are any other topics that you have or questions about the audiobook world, love to hear from you. You can reach out to me at robertlanecoaching.com, or if you want to jump on the shows, because we are live right now. So you can give us a call, or you can comment in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. You can always call us at 866-451-1451. That's the phone number to call into the show, 866-451-1451. Or you can always comment in the chat here on the Bold Brave TV YouTube channel. So with that, one more thing before I forget, and that is I do have a freebie that I want to give to you, and that is a free audiobook narration reference guide. It's a great reference guide that talks not only just about the practical aspects of what you need to do to set up a great recording space and how to do a great narration from a practical standpoint, but from an intangible aspect. So that's the emotion, the feelings, the energy. Those things are really crucial in how you can do a great narration. So it's a good reference guide. Check it out. Download it. It's for free. The link is bit.ly/narration reference guide, all scrunched together as one word. bit.ly/narration reference guide. Grab yourself a copy. And, again, of course, you can always go to robertlanecoaching.com. All this information is up there as well. So we're talking about audiobook distribution. As people ask that question, where can I get your audiobook? Now, when I take clients and authors through my audiobook coaching program, I do get them published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. And as I mentioned before the break, those are the 3 platforms you really do need to be on no matter what, because that's what people go to, right? That's what the general public goes to. So you need to be on those 3 platforms. There are definitely other platforms that you can get your audiobook on. And like I mentioned about marketing strategies, if it makes sense for you to be on other distribution platforms in addition to Audible, Amazon, and Apple, then do it. Go for it. But again, does it work for you? Is it beneficial for you and your author brand? What you don't want to do is do the the typical grab that handful of spaghetti and throw it against the wall and just see what sticks. That's not good marketing strategy. You got to have a plan. Okay, you got to have a viable plan when you are promoting yourself as an author and your book, no matter what format it's in: ebook, paperback, hardcover, audiobook. No matter what format, have a plan. Don't just throw something against the wall and see what sticks. Not good marketing strategy. Okay, so if there are other distribution platforms that you want to be on, then, and it works for you, then definitely do it. Now, of course, I mentioned about Amazon and Audible and Apple, the AAA. Now, there are other places you can be distributed on if it works for you. For example, there is Google Play Books. That's another place that you can get your ebooks and your audiobooks, all from Google Play. That may be a convenient place for you to tell people to go get your audiobook. Because remember, when people are asking, oh, hey, where can I get your audiobook? You have to have a definitive answer to tell them. So for me, it's like, oh, just go to Audible or just go to Amazon. It's there. Here's my book, Lights, Action, You. Look it up. It's there. You can get the ebook, paperback, and audiobook. It's all right there. Simple. It's easy for me to tell people where to go to get that audiobook. But if there are other places that are more successful for you in regards to sales, maybe you are getting more sales on other platforms, then definitely do that. So Google Play is one. Of course, Spotify is doing audiobooks now. Again, I don't know how many people really listen to Spotify for audiobooks, but again, that is something that's fairly recent, but you can get your audiobook on Spotify if that works for you. Another distribution platform is Chirp, okay? chirpbooks.com. Chirp, which was actually created or started by BookBub. And those of you, of course, if you're an author, you've heard of some of these places like BookBub. It is basically a book discovery service, if you want to call it that. But Chirp is part of is under their umbrella that you can have your audiobook distributed. Now, of course, you can go to audiobooks.com. Now, audiobooks.com is an app-based audiobook subscription service that you can have your audiobook on. Of course, you can get it both for Android and for your iOS for Apple. That's another place that you can have your book distributed. Now, remember, I'm just talking about other places that you can get your audiobook distributed if it works for you. If it is helping you with sales, if it's getting you out there, and if these are places that people have asked you, hey, are you available on Spotify? Are you available on Google Play? Are you available at audiobooks.com or Chirp, any of these ones that I've already mentioned? think about it as part of your marketing strategy. Okay. Now, here are a couple other ones that I want to talk about that you can have your audiobook distributed. There's a company called Overdrive, and Overdrive is dedicated to getting ebooks and audiobooks into libraries and in many countries. All right. So having your audiobook in a library and in schools may be beneficial for you to have that as distribution. So excuse me, something to think about. Another place that's similar is Hoopla. Hoopla also distributes your book to public libraries. So, and what Hoopla does, it allows you to borrow, right? Because you're just like going to a regular library, movies, music, audiobooks, ebooks, comics, TV shows. They do a lot of things. So that is another distribution platform that might work for you. Another one that you may have heard of is Scribed. And that is, it's Scribed/Everend. So if you wanted to look into them, their website is Everend, EVERAND.com. They do provide a digital library where you can get books and audiobooks and magazines and those types of things at that service. There are other audiobook distribution platforms like BookBeat that allows you to stream audiobooks. There's also Bookmate, which is another one that does ebooks and audiobooks, and it is a subscription service. So that is a place, though, that you can have your book distributed for people who want to have their audiobook there as well. There are other there's so many of them. Let me think. Audiobooks Now is another one that you can get your book, your audiobook placed, where you can have your book downloaded and also streamed as well. So that is another distribution platform. Like I say, I think there's a minimum of like 56 plus different types of audiobooks. All right. So here's another one that you can do. And I mentioned earlier about Barnes and Noble. Barnes and Noble has their digital format where you can get books, ebooks, magazines, all sorts of great things. And part of Barnes & Noble is a division of that where you can get your audiobook is called Nook, Nook. So you can have your audiobook on Barnes & Noble if that works for you. Again, remember, this all ties back in to your marketing strategy. You have to have a marketing plan and see if these other platforms work for you. Like I mentioned earlier, on the AAA, Audible, Amazon, and Apple, that seems to work great for a lot of people. But if you want your book in other parts of the world, in other countries, other distribution platforms will get you there. For example, Rakuten, right? Rakuten or Kobo, you may know it as Kobo. That gets your book distributed worldwide to just a whole different variety of countries that you can get your ebook and, of course, your audiobook distributed there as well. So that is, again, another service that you may look into. There are, as I say, a ton of different platforms that are out there. There's a place, there's an audiobook distribution platform called We Hear, which does audiobooks. And I think they focus on fiction authors, romance, fiction, adventure, horror, paranormal, that kind of thing. But if you're a nonfiction author, maybe that's not the greatest platform for you. But you can be distributed there if you wanted to. So again, like I mentioned, figuring out what your marketing strategy is, that will help you determine where you want your audiobook distributed. Because when they ask that question, when somebody asks that question, where can I get your audiobook? You have a definitive answer to tell them. And it's just really important because you don't want to create confusion. And again, being anywhere and everywhere may not be the best marketing strategy for you. So understanding your author brand, where your target market is, where your target audience is, where you get the most response from. Maybe it is just in the United States. Maybe it is in Canada. Maybe it is in the UK. Maybe it is in Mexico or Ireland or any of the other places, Japan, any of the other places that your audiobook will be distributed if you are distributed on Audible. So again, these are things that you need to think about as an author brand, because you are an entrepreneur. This is your business, and making decisions, the right decisions that will help move your business forward as an author are very important. So understanding all these different distribution platforms, what they do, and how you can get on them if it works for you is key. All right. So just something to think about. All right. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I have to think about that because I use the same title, by the way. I have a Your Book, Your Voice coffee chat that I do on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram every Thursday. I do that in the morning and early afternoon. I do this podcast here with Bold Brave TV, which I love doing, and I'm glad that you're enjoying the podcast. And it's usually different topics when I do my coffee chat and when I do the podcast. And of course, my audiobook coaching program is called Your Book, Your Voice. So I have to remember, where am I? Where am I? What am I talking about? But it does make it easy to find. This is, of course, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. We're going to take one more quick break. I do want to talk to you a little bit more in detail about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program that I teach. We will do that when we come back. We are streaming live, by the way, on the Bold Brave TV network. If you want more information about Robert Lane Coaching, you can go to robertlanecoaching.com. Again, I'll talk more about that when we come back from the break. So, my friends, don't go away.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
Hey, my friends, welcome back to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching, as an audiobook coach and producer, helping nonfiction authors turn their book into an audiobook so that you, of course, as the nonfiction author, narrate yourself. Very important. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are streaming live, by the way, on the Bold Brave TV network. Now, our topic, of course, today on the podcast is, where can I get your audiobook? The question that gets asked to every author, I think, because you should have your book as an audiobook. I mean, just think about it from a business standpoint. You're expanding your reach. You're putting yourself out there in a world that may not have even discovered who you are as an author yet. It's another great way to make more revenue, because you as the author, this is your author brand. You are the brand, and your products, of course, all your ebook, your paperback, your hardcover, and of course, your audiobook. So it's great to expand your reach, make more revenue, put yourself out there because you do have a great product and you want it out there, of course. So again, marketing is key. Have a marketing plan before you figure out where you want your audiobook to be distributed, because knowing where you want your book distributed and the services and the platforms that will get you there, you need to know that. All right. So once you figure that out, then you'll know where you want to be distributed, what you need to do, and then you're set. You're set. So when somebody asks that question, hey, where can I get your audiobook? You can say Audible. Grab it on Amazon. Grab it on Barnes and Noble. Grab it on Rakuten. Grab it on audiobooks.com. Wherever you have your distribution. All right. So again, with the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program that I teach in helping authors narrate their own audiobook, I do focus on the AAA, Audible, Amazon, and Apple. You need to be on those platforms. The initial call, the initial meeting that I have with every single author, because I do talk to you and I want to talk to you person to person, because we're working together in creating this awesome audiobook that you're going to be narrating. And developing and establishing a good working business relationship is key. I want to make sure that you resonate with me and that I resonate with you and that you feel 100% comfortable in enrolling in the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. So what is the program? The Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program is a 6-week intensive, right? You can record, narrate, and have all your audio files ready for publication by the end of the 6-week program. It doesn't take you 3 months, 6 months, 10 years. No, you can get it done in 6 weeks. You really can. And so the first phase of the program is setup and preparation. When you enroll in the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program, I provide you with the professional equipment that you need to set up your own recording space. Microphone, headphones. We go over the recording program that you're going to use to record your audiobook. All of that is laid out. And I do coach one-on-one. I don't do group. I used to, but I don't anymore because I just feel, matter of fact, more authors were signing up for the one-on-one than they were for the group coaching. So it all worked out. But I love working with authors one-on-one because you know what? Your story is unique. And sometimes the story is really intense. So just to feel comfortable in working with somebody on a one-on-one basis really seems to work out well. But the first phase of the program is, of course, setup and preparation. Setting up your recording space, how to label your files, setting up your account for publication into Audible, Amazon, and Apple. All of that, I walk with you step by step. And of course, part of the program, aside from us meeting every single week, one-on-one, is there are some really great video lessons that I've put together as part of the program. And you have access to all the video lessons, and everything is very methodical, very step-by-step. So it's not confusing, it's not overwhelming. And I'm there with you every step of the way to help you record a great audiobook. The second phase after setup and preparation is, how do you do a great narration? How do you do it? So we do a deep dive on the tools and techniques that you need to know to do a great audiobook narration. And a big factor of this is mindset. As a matter of fact, the first video lesson that I give that I want you to watch once you enroll is putting yourself in the right frame of mind, because that is so crucial. You got to be focused. You got to be grounded. You got to be in the present moment before you hit that record button. All right, because you have to be consistent with your energy and your emotion and everything that you need to do to create a great audiobook narration, to do a great delivery. All right, so mindset is key. We talk a lot about that. Now, as you are recording your audiobook, I mentioned earlier in the podcast that you are doing everything in sections. You're sending your audio files to me for editing, cleanup, and to make sure that they meet the exact specifications for publication. Because boy, would that suck if you did all this work and you upload it for Audible, Amazon, and Apple, and it gets rejected because your files are not meeting the proper specs. I've seen it happen. I also have fixed audio files for people who already had their audiobook recorded and having to go back and fix it for them because they were getting rejected. Well, I can guarantee that you will be published firsthand and it will be done properly. Again, part of what I do as an audiobook coach and producer is that, yes, I do coach you, but I am an audio guy. I've been doing audio editing for 22 plus years with my own audio post-production business. So you are getting everything here in one place. You get your equipment. Oh, by the way, the equipment is there for you to keep. You don't send that back to me. Professional microphone, headphones, all that stuff, that's yours to keep. And it's not cheap equipment. We're talking, definitely good stuff. I don't believe in cutting corners. So you're getting great, great equipment. And then, of course, you're sending your files to me. I edit them and I do all the uploading for you. So you don't even have to worry about that process. I make sure that your audio files are uploaded, are accepted, ready to go. And by the end of the 6-week program, your audiobook is ready for publication on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. Now, if you need to be distributed on any other distribution platform, that's what we talk about on our call. I'll figure that out, and then I will get you distributed on any of these other platforms as well. So again, go to robertlanecoaching.com. All the information is there, and just book a call. Love to speak with you, and let's get you enrolled, right? Make it a great gift to yourself, or if you know somebody who's an author, give them the gift of an audiobook coaching program. Get it out there. Get your book out there, all right? One last assignment for you, of course, is this. When you're out and about in the world, my friends, say hello to a stranger, smile at them, give them a compliment, because that small gesture of kindness can make all the difference in somebody's life. So be a life changer, all right? That's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. We're here every week here on the Bold Brave TV network. robertlanecoaching.com. Again, we'll give you all the information about what I do as an audiobook coach and producer. I do appreciate you hanging out, and we'll be talking to you next week. So my friends, have a great week. We'll be talking to you soon, my friends. Take care.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode of Your Book, Your Voice, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.